So when did you make the transition from working producing tech events to then join McKinsey? And another question is, what did you have in mind when you said I want to be a management consultant? Because I
Yeah.
find that oftentimes when we're very young and we want to do either, if you want to do consulting or banking, they have a very romanticized view of the
Oh
job.
yeah. I
Um,
think
yeah.
that's well, I think the reality, Pedro, is I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think it was a decision that I don't regret. I learned a lot, and I made a lot of great friends, but it definitely was, uh, knowing everything I know today, the case that I probably would have taken a different path, but at the same time, it was a great path for me. So, yeah, I'd had an opportunity to intern at McKinsey when I was a junior in college, and did a summer internship, got my ass kicked, barely got a return offer. It was a really good eye-opening experience for me, actually, because I think up until that point in my career, and I'd always been kind of, or really my life, I'd always been like, if a 91.6 is an A, I'm going to get a 91.6. Like, what's the minimal effort to get a good grade or the minimal effort to get by?
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's what how good developers are like that, right? They're always lazy,
exactly.
but lazy
And
in a
and I think
smart way.
yeah, well, McKinsey was definitely an environment where, for all of its faults, that didn't work. Like I got my ass kicked. And I actually, that summer at internship McKinsey, I had a mentor that I went to. I'd halfway through the internship and I was getting my ass kicked and I didn't think I was going to get a return offer. And I, went to him and complained about how it's too rigid of a place and how it wasn't a good fit and all this stuff and expected him to kind of give me sympathy. And he was like, look, John, like, you're someone who's never given 100% in anything in your life. Just like try giving 100% at this for the next 6 weeks of your internship. Just like do it for me. And it was very tough love. And
Wow.
so
That is
I
wow. That's a tough one.
yeah. So I did, and I got a return offer, and it by the skin of my teeth, and I think I felt like I had gotten better as a person, at least in terms of knowing what I was capable of. And so, I got this return offer. I graduated school early. I started working at Tech Week and with another startup on campus, and you know, did that for a year and a half, and then it kind of came time to go back to McKinsey. And I thought, look, I still don't know exactly what I want to do. I want to, see different industries, see the world, so I joined McKinsey again as a full time consultant, and I'd say I went in frankly thinking I would probably hate it, but I was like, just do it for 2 years, get it on your resume, and then you get to the next stage in your career. By the way, not the way I would think about career stuff now, but it was as a afraid 22-year old and an insecure overachiever, it was the way I processed the decision at the time. And I'll be honest that I actually really enjoyed my 2 years at McKinsey. I knew it was a bounded experience and that it wasn't something I wanted to do for a career. But I got to travel the world. I got to work in Italy for a long time in Milan. I got to work across the US and actually spent a bunch of time in Texas and Austin and some time in Miami, some time in LA. Got to work across a bunch of industries, worked in healthcare and insurance and financial services and worked for a hearing aid company for 6 months randomly, learned more about hearing aids than any 22-year-old who doesn't have a hearing problem should know about hearing aids. And I got to the end of those 2 years and thought, like, okay, I'm definitely sick of this. I'm ready to move on to the next stage of my career. But I did, to this day, have some incredible friends and mentors that I made there. And actually, I think still lean on some of the stuff I learned there as a VC. I mean, as you know, I mostly do enterprise software. And so I've seen what it's like trying to sell software into a manufacturing facility in, Midwestern US, or what, the challenges are working in large health systems. And so I wouldn't say I went into McKinsey expecting it to be a career. I wanted it to be a learning experience and it kind of helped me get to the next stage of my career. And um, I have to be honest that it did that for me. At the same time, I'll also say I wouldn't probably ever hire McKinsey if I were running a business. It did feel like a place where um, really smart people, but the presentation of the answer mattered more than getting to the right answer,
Yeah. Well,
right?
there's that great
Um,
Showtime show on consultants, right? Have you
yeah,
seen that one?
Yeah, House of Lies. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I can't say that was what my consulting experience was like. I wish that would have been more fun. But yeah, that's definitely a sensationalized view.
Yeah.
Um but no, yeah, I definitely, got what I wanted out of it and then was ready to do the next thing.
Look, like I have never worked, of course, as a consultant, but I learned so much with all the materials that come out from McKinsey, Bain, BCG, and I've hired, people that have been a part of these organizations, and I think it's almost kind of like some of the things that you learn there should be applied in high school, or even college. Like that's where every human, in my opinion, should learn some of those things. It's just not the end all be all path for life, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um,
I completely agree with that. I mean, I think, you learn to problem solve. In consulting, and by that I mean, take a problem, break it down into its components, kind of build the issue tree, build the hypothesis tree, and go very kind of structured, very like analytical problem solving. um, I would say that, candidly, that felt like about 20% of the work there, and then 80% was sort of proving the hypothesis and making the presentation and kind of making the answer look really good. But that 20% of the work was so much fun. And I really did enjoy it. And I definitely apply those skills as an investor.
that's great. That's great. And then, oh, thanks for the honest answer there.